Hello, this is Pixie and doing another video. So I guess really it's about the sexes today. So hypergamy and stuff has come to mind. And the reason I'm talking about it is because today I had like a lot of pressure from female bosses, and there was basically their reasoning was, you know, could you help out more or could you cover some extra shifts? But basically because next week the kids are off, a lot of the workers have taken time off for the children, which is nice. But it's automatically assumed that I'm willing to take on all the extra work, or I haven't got any obligations that might come out of the box. You know, like ill parents and whatnot. So it seems strange that it's automatically assumed. I don't know if it's just the kind of thing, because there's a shared culture. Children form as a part of a culture, having children, nurturing, stuff like that. And I'm also sort of seeing changes in society that are different as well for females. So this is no way an anti-female type thing. Are you going that way? Yeah, actually, if you come on, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Do you want to go? No? Alright. It was free. It didn't respond. It was a couple of females in a car, and I basically let them go, and they didn't want to go, and they looked like I wanted to fight them. I'm gesturing them outwards. So this is another thing, is that my mum has installed, or whether it was naturally installed, that I have certain manners. And so when the opportunity comes to support or help a child, maybe a child's vulnerable, I act as a shield. Or in some ways, I had that the other day, some kid was on a bike, he was only like 4 years old, and he come off his bike in the road. His mum was there, and I stood as a shield because I didn't want to, I know the car wouldn't run over the child, but it was automatic, the child was vulnerable and I didn't want to see the child get hurt. Or it was trying to ride towards the traffic or something. It was only, 'cause he was only a 4-year-old, so I was concerned for the child. And so that was an automatic reflex. I think that's a part of being a man. So I won't never apologise for wanting to protect an innocent or vulnerable person. And at the time, it's a brief thing. You know, if a woman was crying her eyes out, I wouldn't assume she's a weak person. I'd assume that she's injured or vulnerable in some way. Associate, you know, psychological pain as well. And so not to react to is very cold socially. But then there's other areas where people think it's weird, you know, to sort of like open doors for women and other things, and some of the women think it's rude, I think it's undermining them in some way, especially people that have tried to separate themselves from any sort of gender ideologies. We can't we go forward, or what's happening now? I know you've got a car wants to come out, but I can't just let mine out. So it's reaffirming as a man where we stand in society. And I think possibly if you feel you're getting smothered by you know, your partner, then you need to create some space just to be you, because you're compromising who you are, and they'll also lose interest in you because they won't respect you because you've given in more. Thank you. That's fine. Bloke's seen an advantage. He's taken it. Don't mind a man being a man. And it's kind of, where do we fit in as males? Where do you fit into society? We can pretty much need to be versatile in that we need to have some of the older skills that women used to use, as well as having our own masculine skills. So, and to sort of verify that, we tend to be quite good with our hands manually to make things. Not all of us. If we're not, we're intellectually usually people. Crumbs. See if I can slot in there and I come up. Don't know if you can actually. So it's more complicated, and you want to engage society. We all want to engage with society. So you've got people that want to be, like I say, they want to be fluid, they want to be tomboys and stuff. Great, but don't compromise other people. You know, if people are a bit old-fashioned, it's not time to trash and burn them. They just got certain values that they're, you know, they want to maintain. And I think there's other things that are going on, like we need to teach children about same-sex stuff and so on. I don't think so. I think a child doesn't really need to know about mums and daddies. They need to just be children. Let them be children. Let them stay innocent. You know, I mean, they can learn from animals that there's a couple in there, they breed and whatever. They can learn from plants how they function. They don't need to. It's not a case of sort of forbidden knowledge, but they don't need to encourage them to grow up. A mum and a dad can tell them that when their baby brother is, yeah, you know, it's something that parents do, mummies and daddies do. We have babies and stuff. And they get them involved in the process. It's kind of the way it should be. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And if they are same-sex, they can explain that to the sibling. They say, look, you know, we love each other, me and mummy. We have to do things slightly different. But yeah, you know, it's quite simple. It doesn't have to be this, or if it's like two dads or whatever, and they're adopting children or so on. When the child's ready, there's a time and place to explain that. But it's not, you know, you're pushing something. It's a narrative. You have to have this because it's. What the hell? It's crazy drivers. Yeah, you have to push this kind of narrative. And also, men need to think. I mean, there's lots of stuff anti this and anti that. So it's finding the right balance. So let's say you fall in love with a single mum. The dad's on the scene. You have to figure out how you fit in and at what level in that relationship. You probably want to overcommit, because if you do, you're basically adopting that child at some level. And also, are you going to have children? If you're not going to have children, and why necessarily marriage? Maybe you've already had children. But the thing is, it's understanding you don't have to sort of be brainwashed into believing relationships have to have a set pattern, because if they're somehow different structurally, they don't need to. You know, what you need to do, be looking for is what's real in that relationship, not establishing what maybe logical steps are taken in order to sort of maintain it, I guess. It's a lot of work relationships, so, and sometimes it requires a step back. If you don't have honest conversations with people, you don't know where they're at, and your brain sometimes fits in the missing pieces. You know, it might be desperate to try to complete a puzzle, and it doesn't work out because you know, the person you created is like the hologram, the internal hologram in your head. So it's sort of a combination of their kind of essence, their life force, with your own spirituality, mental constructs, values, what they add to you. They're like your opposite. They become your feminine or masculine ego. You know, there's things you draw from that experience. And then also you need to transform, it's kind of a psychological alchemy of past experiences. I mean, some people like to hang on to things, but I don't think it's the right way. You know, lots of people refer to my exes and this and that. And it's great you've got a history, but it doesn't really play any importance in the present. It just means that you got some experience, and you know, you don't want to be, people don't want to be reminded of exes all the time and stuff like that, because it's not that males are vulnerable to their egos, because it depends on what they're like as a person anyway. It's just how valuable is that experience. I mean, the person doesn't want to become like your ex, so he doesn't want to necessarily take too much of that internalise it. I mean, I did have that before once in the past. It's just like sort of, oh, my ex did that, or you know, this, that, and I was thinking, well, I don't have this baggage, and it's not undermining my relationship with you. It's kind of, what is there to talk about? This is, you know, it's past. It's a part of clearance, really, clearing the mind. You know, people was talking about exes and stuff. I guess they're still kind of fragmented spiritually, and also it's a window back into time. It's time travel. If you stick to your memories too strongly, too rigidly, you go back, but you make another kind of like a construct of it. So you're reliving that experience, and it's very much the same, because you can create an experience and relive it. All you've got to do is picture that memory, start thinking about it long enough. The emotions come in, the vulnerabilities come in, the reactions come in, your body tunes up to it, So you start reliving it, and that's not where you want to be. So, but I've got some new skills in my bag, so you can just like concentrate for the yoga, concentrate on the heart, and just, it's kind of like exercising it, but you're relaxing it, you're sensing yourself emotionally, and you're letting go of everything. There shouldn't be anything. If it pops to the surface, then it's obviously in your mind. It's something you need to address at some point. But if it's not there, you don't have to worry about it. You know, you don't have to dig up the past. I mean, I like to think that I'm a constantly changing entity, and you know, it's like a snapshot in time, really. Let's go. No, you're not going to stop. There we go. Let's go here. Let's go here. So I'm going to do a bit more. Always talk about multiple things. I'm going to do a bit more fasting, but I'm going to have to include a dry fast. So probably now I'm going to continue dry fasting. It's hot at the moment, so I'm kind of sweating it out, and my skin pores are open, and it's breathing it out. So it's good, that kind of heat. Anything else weird I noticed? Yeah, a lot of people, cultures, they've got this gym culture thing that's going on, and people wear these kind of gym trousers, but they really need to get fasting. That's what they need to do. They're actually overweight, and they don't look quite right. They go to the gym, and then they're sat in a coffee place. It's almost like they're trying to look popular in some way. They're not really. It's kind of an adopted identity kind of thing, rather than the real identity. Anyway, this is Pixie sign off, and speak to you soon.